YouTube? GK's back with another Uncharted video. I have covered Uncharted for over a year now, and I have said since day one that this is trash, and Tom Holland isn't Nathan Drake. Doesn't look like Nathan Drake, exude the confidence that is Nathan Drake. I've said it, and I've received so much hate for that. Before we put the final nail in the coffin on this trash movie, we're gonna do a little recap, because I really don't even want to talk about this. As you can see, I don't even have my flannel on. I didn't get ready. I just kind of saw this. I know it's kind of older news, but I think it's important to put the final closing chapter on this Uncharted movie-ish, and this is hopefully going to be the last time I talk about this trash movie. I am a fan of Uncharted. Let's not get it twisted. This is coming from a place of love, alright? So I hope you enjoy the video.
Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show.
When I first found out about it, I kind of had this idea to do fan film reactions. One on the left was some kind of foreign, I'm forgetting the native language they spoke, but it was great. And on the right is Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion did a short that was freaking amazing. Unfortunately, you know, Nathan Fillion's a little bit too old now. Why I'm pulling this up is because I'm suggesting these fan films for you to go watch them. See what Uncharted could potentially have been and what we're not getting. Because I assure you, what's in these fan films is not what we're getting in the movie that got delayed again. I had up-to-date stories on how this development happened and who was directing and who got cut and how many delays the movie had. I started talking about Mark Wahlberg and how this was like a buddy cop film where Tom Holland wanted to work with his friends Mark Wahlberg and Chris Pratt, and then somehow Tom was Nathan but then still wanted his buddies to work on the film. I've called it out directly, and I said Tom Holland is bad for this movie. I've talked about positives in these videos as well, like the casting of Chloe Frazier. That's a great choice. We're going to talk about her a little bit later, but again, more updates, rants. It's a dumpster fire. It is what it is. There were a few real ones out there who saw what I saw, that it wasn't going to work and it didn't look good. And I empathize with the people who said, have faith, give him a chance. I get where they were coming from as a fan of Uncharted and video games and wanting to see them on the big screen and tell those beautiful stories, but I stuck to my guns. This was trash. So really quick, let's do a little bit of a recap. Uncharted is expected in February 18, 2022. It was supposed to come out this year. Apparently it's coming out next year, but who gives a fuck? And for those that don't know, it is a prequel. I have said before why it's a prequel, because Tom Holland can't play a grown-ass man that is Nathan Drake. And I have said admittedly, he does look like younger Nathan Drake, but newsflash to you, a lot of people would look like the younger version of Nathan Drake. That is not a character we care about. That is not a story we want. And the problem with a prequel, the biggest, is that we would never see the actual Uncharted games and or Nathan Drake, who he is to us, the fans, on the big screen, because Tom Holland will never grow up enough to play the role. So it will always be stuck in this prequel zone. You know, when Ruben Fletcher finally comes on and Art Mackham and Matt Holloway and Raph Judkins, I thought that Art Mackham and Matt Holloway, they worked on some other type of Marvel, Disney comic book movie. I thought, okay, maybe, but I wasn't too convinced. And Ruben Fletcher, I didn't think was the best out of the several directors they had, but I was like, okay, maybe, I guess, whatever. And then you go get Antonio Banderas to probably play the villain. That's not even confirmed yet, but we can all assume. And you got Mark Wahlberg, which is, I believe, was one of the highest paid actors, if not the highest, a couple years ago, but also like one of the most overrated. Like, his movies aren't actually that good, but I've consistently said and tried to get this point across that these anime, video game, live action adaptations, the women cast are fucking phenomenal and the men are trash. Sophia Ali, my biggest complaint was that she's looking too good next to young Tom Holland. You're not convincing me that these two are supposed to be kind of like a couple, because Chloe Frazier is one of the baddest characters in video game history. She is dope, she is strong, she is fire. Doesn't look good next to Tom Holland. Doesn't. I'm sorry, I admit it. And that's going to be reaffirmed by what we're going to read from Tom Holland and the whole point of this video. NMe.com had this to say: Tom Holland raises concerns after revealing Uncharted film performance mistake. It was a mistake, and is something that I will probably never do again. This is a little bit taken out of context, and we're gonna read where this exactly came from, and it may not be too clear, so I'm going to explain it the way I interpreted it. Holland went on to add that he hasn't seen a cut of the film and is unsure if his approach to the character works. Okay, Tom, you were cast as a young Nathan Drake, so it should work, Tom. That's why you're there. They didn't ask you to play grown-up Nathan Drake in the first game. They already knew you couldn't do that. I want you to keep that in mind, everybody. He was cast to play himself. Look, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if I succeeded in that, but it was an important lesson learned. Fuck that. I don't want you to learn no goddamn lessons in my Uncharted movie, okay? This isn't lesson time, because at times it was less about land a mark and go through the scene and more about land a mark, stand there like this and see my bulging biceps. Let's dissect this a little bit. Land a mark is to kind of hit the point you want to hit and make it look good. Did what you were supposed to do. Tom apparently felt that it wasn't about landing the mark, but it was about standing there and looking at my bulging biceps. First of all, Uncharted as a video game and Nathan Drake as a person has never been a stand here and look at my biceps type of thing. It's not Rambo. This is where I'm gonna add my idea, is that he felt insecure in the role. He knows that he really couldn't play Nathan Drake the man, and that it was made a prequel basically to fit him. All the directors and all the articles I've read in the past point to that being the case. It was a mistake, and it is something that I will probably never do again. Holland's comments have understandably drawn concern from the gaming community, who are now worried that the film will suck after being stuck in development for over 12 years, which is insane, mind-blowing. Tom also in this article said something to the effect that he needed to remind himself that he was an action hero. Let me remind you, the dude is fucking Spider-Man. Okay, he should have no problem with this. Zero fucking issues. And what I deduce from this is that in the movie, they wanted him to be more macho, more manly, and it was something he was uncomfortable with doing. He couldn't do it and couldn't portray it. And what I glean from this is probably will never do again means nail in the coffin. We will never see Tom Holland as the grown-up Nathan Drake. And to be honest, good riddance. See you later. Don't care. Don't fuck up your new Spider-Man movie, because we're all waiting for you to actually be Spider-Man and not Spider-Boy. Carry your own movie. That's all I wanted to leave you with today. Let me know what you think or how you interpreted the lines and the feeling Tom had when he was speaking about the Uncharted movie. I find it very concerning that he hasn't seen it. Isn't he supposed to be a big boy in Hollywood? Isn't he supposed to have a little bit of pull, a little bit of sway? Isn't that how that kind of goes when you're someone of Tom Holland's stature? Because you were brought in to put butts in the seat, Tom. So if you can't do that and pull off a character that they literally made for you, I don't know what else to say. For those that were rocking with me, who actually took the time to see the things I was saying in those old videos and just not come with straight hate, I appreciate you. And just know, we're gonna continue content like this, where I just bring the real. This is just another example of calling it like you see it. I'm the grown kid.